Matthew 23. And I'm going to run through this script because it's a very lengthy script. We'll have it followed along on the screens. Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, "The scribes and the Pharisees sit on Moses' seat. So do and observe whatever they tell you, but not the works they do. For they preach, but do not practice. They tie up heavy burdens, hard to bear, and lay them on people's shoulders, but they themselves are not willing to move them with their finger. They do all their deeds to be seen by others, for they make their phylacteries broad and their fringes long. And they love the place of honor at feasts, and the best seats in the synagogues, and the greetings in the marketplaces, and being called rabbi by others. But you are not to be called rabbi, for you have one teacher, and you are all brothers. And call no man your father on earth, for you have one Father, who is in heaven. Neither be called instructors, for you have one instructor, the Christ. The greatest among you shall be your servant. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. But woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you shut the kingdom of heaven in people's faces, for you neither enter yourselves nor allow those who would enter to go in. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you travel across sea and land to make a single proselyte, and when he becomes a proselyte, you make him twice as much a child of hell as yourselves. Woe to you, blind guides, who say, if anyone swears by the temple, it is nothing, but if anyone swears by the gold of the temple, he is bound by his oath. You blind fools, for which is greater, the gold or the temple that has made the gold sacred? And you say, if anyone swears by the altar, it is nothing, but if anyone swears by the gift that is on the altar, he is bound by his oath. You blind men, for which is greater, the gift or the altar that makes the gift sacred? So whoever swears by the altar swears by it and by everything on it, and whoever swears by the temple swears by it and by him who dwells in it, and whoever swears by heaven swears by the throne of God and by him who sits upon it. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you tithe mint and dill and cumin, and have neglected the weightier matters of the law, justice and mercy and faithfulness. These you ought to have done. Without neglecting the others, you blind guides, straining out a gnat and swallowing a camel. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you clean the outside of the cup and the plate, but the inside are full of greed and self-indulgence. You blind Pharisees, first clean the inside of the cup and the plate, that the outside may also be clean. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are like whitewashed tombs, which outwardly appear beautiful, but within are full of dead people's bones and all uncleanliness. So you also outwardly appear righteous to others, but within you are full of hypocrisy and lawlessness. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you build the tombs of the prophets and decorate the monument of the righteous, saying, if we have lived in the days of our fathers, would not have taken part in them, shedding the blood of the prophets. Thus you witness again yourselves that you are sons of those who murdered the prophets. Fill up then the measure of your fathers, you serpents, you brood of vipers. How are you to escape being sentenced to hell? Therefore I send you prophets and wise men and scribes, some of whom you will kill and crucify, and some will flog in your synagogues and persecute from town to town, so that on you may come all the righteous blood shed on earth, from the blood of righteous Abel to the blood of Zechariah, the son of Berechiah, whom you murdered between the sanctuary and the altar. Truly I say to you, all these things will come upon this generation. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the city that kills the prophets and stones those who are sent to it. How often would I have gathered your children together as a hen gathers her brood under her wings, and you were not willing. See, your house is left to desolate. For I tell you, you will not see me again until you say, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. And I prepared this message 4 different times. and I thought I had it put together accurate, or close to what I wanted at the end of last week. And then on Tuesday, God gave me another message, and I thought that was correct. And then by Wednesday, I thought it was, yep, this is it. We've got this. And as I've read this over and over again, I heard these loud voices. Jesus rebuking the Pharisees. Jesus rebuking the scribes and reminding them over and over again how much they've done over here but haven't done anything within their own hearts. I remember how I was going to deliver this message. And I was going to tell you all how you're supposed to do what Jesus does and this and this. And let's just say God humbled me yesterday. And that's why I can't stand in front of you today. Because I myself have sat in this room week after week for the past 4 to 5 years, thinking that I was doing something. Yes, we may have been personally doing something in the kingdom of God, but when the time shows up, we can allow our hurt, we can allow our pain that is not surrendered to the Lord defile heaven. Because you and I are people. We allow relatives, spouses, kids to pollute our joy. And as close as I'd like to sit here and tell each and every one of you, as I've been walking with the Lord for the past year, I thought I've been very close. And he kind of swept the rug underneath my feet and said, I need you to sit back down. There is nobody greater than him. And we can forget that. We that have said yes to him have a greatest gift because his forgiveness is saturated over us. But it doesn't take away the pride. It doesn't take away the arrogance. It doesn't take away the hurt that the day-to-day activity still can provide. I've been sharing with my wife for quite some time. Like, we have to be, as the generational curse breakers, we got to love like Jesus. We got to love like Jesus, and we got to love like Jesus. We got to be the example. And through pride and arrogance, instead of sharing the grace of God, instead of sharing the same thing that he has given us, given me specifically, he's given me so much forgiveness. My mother-in-law came to me yesterday in a cry for help. I won't go into details. But it was a cry for help. And before she even opened her mouth, I could already feel the hurt brewing inside of me. I could already feel the pain wanting to vomit out of my mouth instead of the grace of God. As I'm wearing a shirt that says, "No Jesus, no peace" on my back, I attacked this woman because she hurt me, because she hurt my family, because I took my eyes off the King. I don't know why. We think we know best. I don't know why we think we can brush things off. We walk around and we act as if the Pharisees. We may have a presentable case how we can go talk to one another about Jesus Christ and what he did and how he transformed us. But when push comes to shove, we easily put up a brick wall. And as this woman was hurt and attacked, I heard it. How dare you act like that? You're supposed to be loving people the way that Christ loved you, and you act like that. It hit, it hurt. I hope and pray that my mother-in-law can truly forgive me one day. Not because of our relationship, but because she deserves to know who Jesus Christ is. I don't know how often you guys can understand what I'm saying, or even if you can relate. I just know that this feeling that's inside of me right now, I hope I never lose it. Because I should not be given messages. I should not be sharing. I should not, because of the way I behaved. I may be human, I agree with you, but the fact is that we get an opportunity. And I don't want to be, I understand that I got a long way to go. My grandpa sits in front of me. My man's like 90 some odd years old. That's a long way. That's like 50 some odd years for me. And that's a whole lot of lessons that I hope and pray that I don't ever act the way I acted yesterday. Because it reminded me not only of how I treated my mother-in-law, but how I treat my wife some days, how I treat my kids some days, how I treat myself some days, because I take my eyes off the King and remember how much he loves us. I was talking to Casey last night, and I said, Casey, I can't give this message. He said, Peter didn't think he was capable. David didn't think he was capable. He didn't make it any easier. I laid in bed till almost 7 o'clock today, not wanting to get into this place. But I knew that I could not lay there. Because that would what the enemy wants. But the truth is that yesterday happened with the illest manner possible. But by the grace of God, he woke me up and breathed his life back into me and said, I got you. We will redeem this. We will move with this, and we will learn from this. And I hope and pray that the taste that you never leave is the fact that you acted like a child instead of a man of God. I'm still sitting here and I don't want to shake this feeling. And I'm trying to keep my composure and not leave. Because I have to live across the street from this woman until the Lord takes her away from me. And he truly thinks that he's got this. But the truth is that this is nothing that he can't handle. That the King of Kings has not already defeated, that he has not already conquered. Peter didn't drown because he got out of the boat. Peter drowned because he took his eyes off of the one true King. And each and every one of you, I want to encourage you that crap is going to happen. The shame is going to happen. The intrusive thoughts are going to come beating on you and knocking on your door day in and day out. And that if you do not find the Lord, the enemy will win. There's a lot of us that have said yes to the Lord, and we've been sitting in a moment that says we're doing what he wants us to do. Only to be reminded that we have a long way to go. Some of us are even considering, is this even real? How do these people keep showing up here and thinking that what they're thinking is great. I don't remember life before Christ. I remember pain and addiction and madness. I wouldn't call that life. I prepared this message several different times this week, like I mentioned. And something that God spoke to me this week was that re-seek moment. How often do we read our Bible for 5 to 10 minutes and then close it up and we go back to work, we go back to school, we go back to the job, we go find the next conversation, the next gossip. We get 10 minutes of Jesus rather than 8 hours of Jesus. And we say we're good. And then we wonder why these moments happen. So I was prompted this week. And of course, through yesterday's things and stuff, I will admit I lost a little bit of preparation. I wanted to do communion and stuff like that. We'll have to save that for another day. But the thing is God's tugging. He's tugging on my heart in the loudest way possible. It says we have to keep working on ourselves with Him in mind. That we need to keep working on giving to others, to loving others. There are a bunch of broken, jacked up people that need our love, that need our help. We're already covered by the blood of Christ, a lot of us. There's brothers and sisters that once said yes but fell away, and we are okay with them falling away because that's their choice. But I think about how many times if we would have loved them a little bit more like Jesus rather than saying, I don't have time for you. I have to go to work. I have to go to school. I don't have time for you. I don't have time to love you. I've heard a few people, myself included, I don't have tools to pass or stop this person on the side of the road. I'm not going to answer the phone because I know that they're just going to cry to me. I'm not going to extend grace because I don't want to. Meanwhile, life is being breathed into us. Blessings are still poured upon us. We don't deserve none of this. I learned about how beautiful or how amazing God was this past week. And that if He were to peek out of the clouds to look at us, it would be better than a Thanos snap and we would all end. I learned that if all He wanted to do was appear out of the clouds, He can call it quits. But instead, He decides to give us another shot. And I don't think He's giving us another shot to start another group or another thing. I think He's giving us another shot to extend love the way He loves. And I think He's trying to get us to just love our neighbor. Love ourselves. We are not qualified to do this job, but He is. I don't know what you're going to leave with today, but I hope and pray that you leave this place seeking the Lord and wanting more of the Lord and craving Him, because nothing else is going to help. I don't care how much money is in your bank account. I don't care how many cars you own or how many houses or how many friends, whatever your social status looks like. I don't care. It will not mean nothing, because come the end of the day, you're going to stand in front of Him with none of it.